Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast, Wildcard Round Edition. Phil Perry's going to be in alongside in just a sec, but since it's the playoffs and the Patriots are in against the Chargers, figured I'd do a little riffing at the top here. Resumes are made in the regular season. Legacies are made in the postseason. If you're my age, what do you think when you hear the names Dan Marino or Charles Barkley? Great player, but too bad he never got a ring. Why is Bill Russell generally thought of as greater than Wilt Chamberlain, one of the most dominant athletes in professional sports history? Championships. Lamar Jackson's on that track. Peyton Manning lived on that track. Meanwhile, you got Eli Manning, who was a better than average quarterback, but not great, and he's revered because of what he did in the postseason. You want Edelman, or do you want Wes Welker? And why? Unfortunately for the Patriots, the playoffs are the final exam, and it counts more than 50% of their grade. Win some in this postseason, and the legacy building begins. Lose fast, and you were a nice little story. Tap on head, pat on bottom, off you go, into the offseason. Their opponent this week, the Chargers, they're a cautionary tale. There, but for the grace of God, go the Patriots. Meanwhile, this team has something unique going on in 2025, something that will be impossible to replicate, because that's just the way it is. Here's Will Campbell.
I don't ever want to have to play for anybody else. I feel like that's the best way to sum it up. Since, other than high school, this is the most fun I've had playing football since high school. And, all you hear about whenever, you're going into the league as a rookie is, it's not like college, enjoy college. You don't have that, close bond team, your coaches. And I feel like that's complete BS because this team has done nothing but prove that wrong. I feel like we got a lot of great guys, great coaches, and I'm just super thankful to be a part of this group.
In comes Phil Perry. At some point, we're going to get Phil to do his syrupy Will Campbell imitation. I'm not going to do it on call because Phil is resistant to doing it on call, but it is beyond perfect. First, Phil, what'd you think of my little riff at the top? Second, what'd you think of what Will Campbell had to say, and how can the vibes carry them?
I think your riff off the top was beyond perfect, Tom. You're right. This is how they're going to put their stamp on the 2025 season, as impressive as it's been. And I would say even if they lose, this season has been a quote-unquote success.
Agreed.
Because of all their accomplishments in the regular season, because you have found out that you are for sure on the right track with this head coach and with this quarterback in particular. But if they don't win one in the postseason, it will change our collective memory of this team. Now, as far as Will Campbell goes, that guy seems like the kind of guy who'd be a lot of fun to play with. Mm-hmm. And so I look at his assessment of this team and how much he's enjoying it and how much they all seem to be enjoying it. This was a team that had immaculate vibes, as the kids might say, really until last week with off-the-field issues for Christian Barmore and Stephon Diggs coming to light. But even in light of those, I think Mike Vrabel, not that he would overtly use those instances as an opportunity for coming together more as a team, but I think he feels as though this team is a family. And so when you have family members that are going through hard times, maybe allegedly ugly times, you are still going to support them. And he's been pretty consistent in that regard. And I think that support combined with an air of we're not going to take ourselves too seriously that meshes with a lot of the guys that are in that locker room that starts with Vrabel, I think you have this sort of unique, as you put it, feeling in that locker room.
There's an authenticity to what Vrabel has kind of crafted here that's hard to, I think, capture because he has been overt about relationship building. And sometimes when people are overt about relationship building with the, how you doing? How's your family? How's everybody doing? Sometimes you say, does this guy really care? Is he really hearing the answers here? Or did he just read a book on how to win friends and influence people? And that's what he's operating off of. And I think that Vrabel has cut through that inauthenticity that he could have leveled at him. I've told this story before. That's who he is. I remember when he was on the team from 2000 to 2008, and I can't remember what year it was, but there was a practice squad player who had just been signed, and I'm standing in the locker room and I hear nearby, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Mike Vrabel. I'm your player rep here. So just wanted to say hi, put up my hand, introduce myself." I mean, that's who he is. And I think the authenticity of reaching out to guys has made them feel indebted to them. And there's weird guys, for lack of a better term, when you come to Mac Hollins. Funny guys like Morgan Moses. Hysterical guys like Demario Douglas. I mean, there's guys all over this team who are unique individuals who seem to be accepted as such. So it is the era of good feeling. But to go into the playoffs, too, that's sticky. Playoff games are sticky. I'm not going to talk a hell of a lot about that Jets game that was legendary in terms of an historic number put up by the Patriots and by Drake Maye in terms of efficiency. What we will talk about if the Patriots lose is that they failed 28-24 against the Chargers, and Drake Maye was better than them, and the Chargers had no pass protection, and still somehow the Patriots weren't able to make it happen. Not saying that's going to happen. We're going to have some predictions at the end of the program. Let's get into the Chargers right now. Here's Mike Vrabel talking LAC.
They play great defense. They're very sound. They're good tacklers. They're physical. They get off the field on third down. They're good in the red zone. They run the football. It's a physical football team. They possess the football. They lead the NFL in time of possession. They have good, very good quarterback play. They're well coached. They play with technique and fundamentals. The game, they don't panic, one way or the other. They kind of stick to their game plan and wear you down and execute in critical situations. So a lot of respect for them, certainly what they've done in a short amount of time.
Phil, you know how I love unexpectedpoints.com and our guy Kevin Cole, who goes way under the hood and takes everything into account when he does team and quarterback rankings. Last week, going into the final week of the season, the Patriots were the second overall team in offense and defense, total expected points over anticipated. Average?
I don't know. It's usually expected points added.
Average. Patriots were second. The Chargers were 15th. Total expected points added. At the quarterback position, Maye was number one. Herbert, Justin, 14th. When it comes to those quarterbacks, Maye's actual expected points added, 194.8. Justin Herbert's 60.2. That's over the course of the whole season. Adjusted, meaning Kevin Cole takes into account schedule, turnovers, drops, sacks, yards after catch. He has to adjust Maye down to a 152.6. Nobody had a bigger drop in terms of negative things against them than Drake Maye. Herbert only dropped 4. Still, Maye ended up the number one quarterback in the league. Pretty amazing performance. And Kevin wrote last week, the only team that's already in the playoffs but doesn't make the top couple tiers of the graph is the Chargers. Numbers have been down on the Chargers all year with their offense performing substandard despite having Herbert. Chargers ranked 20th in offensive EPA, 17th dropping back to pass, 22nd on designed runs. You can make the argument Herbert has been better than his numbers, though his EPA adjustments don't give him extra credit over his mediocre baselines. Phil, give me some Charger perspective.
Well, I think you start with the quarterback and his performance and his ability to do a lot of different things. He is somebody who is going to scramble a lot, Tom, in part because of the protection or lack thereof that he's gotten this year. He can make every throw on the field. We saw that late last season in the regular season when he blew away a hapless Patriots team at that point in time. But their identity, too, as a program with Jim Harbaugh there is to be this tough, physical, run-the-football kind of team. And Marion Hampton, a first-round pick for them this past spring, is that kind of back. And so I think they want to be physical. I don't know if they have the offensive personnel to be as physical as they'd like to be. And so that's probably why you're getting this mediocre, quote-unquote, performance from them this season. And then defensively, I think they're going to be underrated here in New England going into this game because I have not heard nearly enough about this Chargers defense. They are a good defense. They are one of the most opportunistic defenses in football. They were second this year in interception rate. So if you give them a chance, they will pick you off, and that will change the game. So the Patriots are going to have to be on their P's and Q's because this is a team that, generally speaking, will force more mistakes than they will create on their own.
We're going to show you more about what Kevin Cole and UnexpectedPoints.com has in terms of rankings when we do quick slants later in the week, but the Chargers have one of the better defenses in the league. They are fairly significantly above average, a better defense than the Patriots have put out there. Additionally, too, if their running game hasn't been effective, that's probably because it's against some teams who are prolific at stopping the run. I don't think the Patriots are that team anymore. They have Milton Williams back. We'll see what happens with Tonga and Spillane, but right now they are an average to below average team when it comes to stopping the run.
That's what they have been. Now, they allowed 2.5 yards per carry against the Dolphins, which is tremendous. And is that just because they had Milton Williams back for 30-ish snaps in the regular season finale? I don't think so.
No A-chain and missing guys on the Dolphins' offensive line.
I agree with you. And so it is an interesting matchup from that standpoint, and it might get back to your point for the better part of the last 2 weeks, which is the Chargers maybe wanted to see the Patriots because where they are really weak is at those tackle spots. And the Patriots, it's not their strength to be strong up front defensively right now. They don't have an incredible set of one-on-one pass rushers on this defense. They have not been great at stopping the run over the course of the last 2 months. So if the Chargers are looking at themselves and saying, how do we hide this weak link in our football chain here? It's to go against a team that's not all that impressive up front defensively, and you could make the argument that's the Patriots right now.
Talk about the pass catchers. They have Keenan Allen, one of the great technicians, who has great kismet with Justin Herbert, and they have Quentin Johnson, downfield threat. What are you going to do if you're the Patriots matching up with a couple of those guys, and who else do they have to worry about?
Well, and Lab McConkey too, right?
Oh,
Lab
God,
McConkey
geez.
was just so electric in that game last year.
He's a good lad.
He is. And listen, that's a tough matchup for Marcus Jones. But that is what I imagine the matchup would be for the most part. And then you're going to have to split it up somehow between Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis with Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston. I like either of the Patriots' outside corners on Johnston. He is a long-limbed, down the field, not incredibly fast, but fast enough to threaten you along the boundary kind of player. And I think the Patriots would be fine with either of their corners on him. The Allen matchup is a little more interesting because I think he is so crafty that if you get him matched up on Carlton Davis, I just wonder how that would go from Davis's end, Tom. Davis is fourth in the NFL among defensive backs in terms of penalties called against him this year with 9. He's also fourth in terms of penalty yardage, called against him with 117. And so somebody who's handsy like that going against a savvy, though not incredibly explosive anymore, wide receiver, I just wonder if those flags start to rain down in a negative way for New England.
We will make sure to let you guys know as the week goes on what the referee assignment is, because unfortunately we understand they can call it an all-star crew if they want when it gets to the postseason, but we've seen many postseason games be dictated by terrible officiating calls that everybody in the bar could look at and go, well, here's the call, and the only person on the planet who thinks otherwise is the guy closest to the play. And I think the Patriots have been on the receiving end of a lot of bad calls this year. Sometimes it works that way. Brendan School got away with a face mask yesterday. That happens too. But the number of egregious, obvious calls that the Patriots have been victimized by, I think still sometimes happens with a young team with a bunch of guys who are not made players. Like how many defensive pass interference penalties have the Patriots drawn? Maybe we'll get into the numbers and see whether or not they're getting hosed. Hey, I'm just trying to do my job over here. I'm not a homer. I want to give you the details. I want to give you the information. Then you can suss out whether it means anything or not. Speaking of sussing out, Phil, what do you think of a Sunday night game for the Patriots? And the fact that it's not going to be freezing cold. Not balmy, but not freezing cold.
Does that benefit the Chargers in any way? Both of these elements, right? A little bit later game, so maybe that blunts whatever impact the timing of going from West Coast to East Coast would have on a team like the Chargers in this situation. And the weather too, right? The colder, the better, you would think, for the Patriots. I just look at that Sunday night billing, Tom, as really interesting. The Patriots are already there, apparently, after some down seasons, and this is going to be their first home playoff game since 2019 with Tom Brady, and now suddenly they're getting one of the marquee spots. And that to me tells me, I think, primarily that you have a quarterback that everybody respects, regardless of whether or not people are looking at the schedule and whether or not he's deserving of MVP consideration. He is deserving of that kind of notoriety when it comes to his spot and his team spot in the postseason and having everybody watching, because this is the best quarterback matchup on the slate, in my opinion. I don't think there's another quarterback matchup on the slate where you have two first ballot, for lack of a better term, Pro Bowlers. There's only 3 from each conference, and Herbert's one and Maye is one. Outside of that, maybe the owner. You think Robert Kraft had any sway here? He's still very featured in terms of being on certain committees in terms of the broadcast
they had
partners
to get
and
away.
things like that.
You can't give the Chargers a Monday night game, because if they win, then they're on a shortened week going into the following week. So you can't do that to them, and that would erase their Tuesday. You can't really give them the Saturday game. Certainly, you can't give them the Sunday at 1 game, because that's 10 a.m. You're hosing them. But they
do that on a regular basis in the regular season. You could do that. You could. But if you want to try and take the travel elements and the time elements out of it, now the Patriots earned the right to have those advantages. But I could see the NFL saying, you know what? Let's give them a level playing field. They're already going 3,000 miles. We'll have them play at night. Besides, it's a good market. You have 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the game. They'll probably give good playoff. The Patriots always gave good playoff. We'll see them give some good playoff again this year. Most likely. All right, we come back. We're going to get a little bit into the MVP talk, and we're going to get into some of the playoff matchups for this weekend. Make some predictions already. All right, welcome back, everybody. MVP and all the year-end awards will take center stage for the 50 AP voters who have to have their ballots in today. As I've said before, I recused myself from the balloting. Didn't know enough about all the All-Pros. Said, why don't I give it to somebody who's a little bit more up on the best safeties in the NFC, so the second-team All-Pro, somebody gets that and they get their money. Bottom line, though, some stumping going on out there. Here's Sean McVay talking about his guy, Matthew Stafford, a little bit of Mike Vrabel on Drake Maye, and then Tom Brady over the top casting his vote, which I'm sure you've already heard by now.
Extremely accurate. He's made the most of every passing opportunity. We created a lot of X plays, and to create X plays, it's about 30% scheme. It's about 70% the players making a play, and part of that is the quarterback putting it in a great location for run after catch. So I think you continue to see that, his ability to extend, use his legs to gain first downs, critical first downs, his ability to score when we've asked him to score and run it in. He's been everything that we've asked, and he continues to get better. He's not satisfied. So I know that our success of where we are right now today has a lot to do with Drake Maye.
Yes, I think Matthew's the MVP of the league. He played that way. Wouldn't want anybody else leading the way. Got a lot of respect for a bunch of people in this league, but there's nobody I'd rather have being the quarterback of the LA Rams than Matthew Stafford. His play speaks for itself.
Is Matthew Stafford your MVP, or do you want to give it to the fellow Patriot, Drake Maye?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't get a vote. I think what Matthew Stafford's done this season has been absolutely remarkable. 46 touchdowns, that's, for any quarterback, that's a dream season. So he's been spectacular. Drake Maye on the other side has done some incredible things with Josh McDaniels in their first year together. Drake's got a long career ahead. I'm sure he's going to have many opportunities. I would say Matthew Stafford.
All right, Phil. As to Tom Brady, my feeling was this. He feels like he hasn't gotten under the hood too much and looked at the numbers. I do not think that he was saying by any stretch, hey, Drake Maye will have plenty of chances to win the MVP. As a result, I'm voting for Stafford. He was saying that as consolation. I'm going to do it for Stafford because, hey, he's got more TD passes, which is, again, he said he doesn't have a vote. He hasn't gotten under the hood and looked at all the different factors that should be entering into it, even though he should have. I don't think he's up on the discussion. Total TD passes is the lamest tiebreaker. But when you hear him say, that's the reason Matthew Stafford and Drake Maye will have plenty of other chances, or Drake Maye will have plenty of other, he didn't even say and, Drake Maye will have other chances. That to me was, I'm voting for him not because it's a career achievement thing. Your thoughts on that?
I worry that there are voters who feel that way, though.
Sure.
And they look at it and say, "This is too close for me to call. Drake Maye will have a shot. Matthew Stafford's never gotten one. This guy's a Hall of Fame level quarterback." Check that box. Because Tom, people are busy. And nobody wants to dig into the numbers the way you and I want to dig into the numbers. The way all the fans at home want to dig into the numbers and stump for their guy, Drake Maye. Because there's a lot of numbers to suggest that Maye has been better in a variety of different ways, whether it's sheer accuracy, and you look at the completion percentage over expected number, or you're talking about that schedule thing that a lot of people give to Matthew Stafford. I thought Bill Barnwell did a pretty good job of detailing why the difference in their strength of schedule actually isn't what you think it is. And if you just isolate for the past defenses that these guys have seen over the course of this year, it's actually their schedules are actually very even. And so I think if you're looking at that, and then you're looking at the cast around Drake Maye, the jump from 4 wins to 14 in one season, the fact that he's near the top of just about every statistical category, advanced or otherwise, outside of touchdown passes and total passing yards, I think Drake Maye should be the guy. It doesn't mean Matthew Stafford's not deserving. I just think it's hard to make the argument. If you really want to get into the weeds, it's hard to make the argument for Stafford over Maye.
Really, and if we used Kevin Cole's interpretation of what's the best team, it's still the Rams. So best player on best team is Matthew Stafford. That's all you have to say. If you want to do that, if you want that, your conclusion to be Matthew Stafford, they were the best team in football. I don't care about their record. When you do all the metrics, they were the best team. They're not the best team. You can't be the best team and be the 5th seed. But the Patriots' strength of schedule, even allowing for that, as I mentioned with Kevin Cole's stuff, even allowing for the fact that in common games, it was Maye going 6-0 against common opponents, 4-2 for the Rams. Look, it's going to go where it goes, but this is part of the reason I was like, you know what, I'm all set with the All-Pro vote.
I think the quarterbacks you could have handled with
I definitely could
plum.
I can definitely do the year-end awards. Like, Liam Cohen deserves a shit ton of consideration for Coach of the Year.
Sure.
So
Rhode
does
Island's
Vrabel.
own.
So does Vrabel.
Yes.
So does Ben Johnson. Three
Maybe-
great candidates.
Maybe Kyle Shanahan?
Executive of the Year, Kyle Shanahan. Executive of the Year is a slippery one because you don't know who the executive is. Assistant Coach of the Year, that should be Josh McDaniels. Comeback player. Look, these things are fun to do, but I think that the conversation and scrutiny becomes so breathless, and it is then charging the individuals who vote. Oh, you did it because you're from New England, and you were a Brady ass sniffer all along, and now it's Maye. Yeah, all set. Albert, you do it. Meanwhile, news around the National Football League. Number of vacancies, and they're going to continue to open up. Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's out. Obviously, Atlanta, they got an opening. Jonathan Gannon, pew, 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 explosives. He's out. And Pete Carroll, not surprisingly, is out with the Las Vegas Raiders, which leads one to believe, as John Spytek and Tom Brady will lead the charge in coming up with a new hire. Let's just noodle on this. Any shot at all that Bill Belichick might be on Tom Brady's call list?
You know, I thought you might be going there.
Don't go there.
I can't
Don't
see
go
it.
there.
I can't see it.
Go from a 72-year-old to a 73-year-old?
I don't
Or
think
73?
that's the right kind of transition. You say to yourself, hey, it worked for Robert. Is that what Tom is going to say here? From Pete to Bill?
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think of
It
that.
worked once before.
A long time ago.
Yeah. History due to repeat itself, right?
Right? Well, he's going to have to get himself a Brady. So unlikely then, you say?
I say unlikely, yes.
Think Bill gets a sniff? Because now, 2 months ago, we were and now when you look around the league and the candidates, you got Lou Anarumo and it's just not a whole massive group of candidates as there were last year with Vrabel and Ben Johnson. And, was Liam Cohen a sought-after candidate?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
relatively. Yeah. Young,
Clint
hot,
Kubiak.
offensive mind.
Clint Kubiak's out there.
Yeah, sure.
Steve Spagnuolo. I hired Steve Spagnuolo. It's been 13 years since he had a team out there in St. Louis, but I think Bill will get a tire kicking.
I disagree. You want to wager on it? Actual interview, not a call, but an interview.
Oh, he won't go for
a
that.
Reported interview.
No, Bill. No can do. Bill won't go for that. No. He's not going to sit in a bunch of interviews. You give him the job or you don't. That's the way he's going to play it.
Then he's not getting a job.
He's not tightening his little tie and going in.
He ain't getting a job. If he's still too good for interviews, he ain't getting a job. I don't think. You think somebody's going to give him a job sight unseen?
I just don't see him going hat in hand. Hi, how are you? How are you?
You want it or not? You're going to have to be competing with, the Kevin Stefanskis of the world. And
Hi, Woody. Nice to
Clint
see you.
Kubiaks of the world.
Does Aaron Glenn still have a job?
Aaron Glenn still has a job.
It's Monday afternoon right now. We taped this thing in advance. Okay, let's get into the playoff matchups. Never too early, never too early, never too early. This is how I decided to dive into these. Obviously, there are 6 games, and it's a unique grouping of games. There's some horrendous divisional winners that are hosting good teams. So Phil and I are going to reel through these, and we're going to stack the games that we're most sure of the winners in. Okay? Here's my 6. The game I'm most sure of, Rams over Panthers. The Rams will beat the Panthers. That's my number 1. So I get 6 points if I get that right. And the Rams advance, and I continue using them.
Okay.
Or I get 1 point. How's that? I'll get 1 point.
However you want to score it, you can score it. It's your game. I'm also going to go Rams over Panthers as my game that I'm most confident in.
Interesting lie, because Phil a moment or two ago said something else. I'm going to go no, you have to go first.
Okay, I'm going to go Texans over Steelers as my next game that I feel most strongly about. I think the Steelers stink. That game, while it was a tremendous competition, it was not a tremendous show of football. That was ugly, mistake-laden, missing kicks, people falling down, busted coverages. That was not a great game. Whoever says that was a great game, that was not a great game. It was a great back and forth.
It was a very entertaining game.
Yeah, there's plenty. I've been to plenty of entertaining, high school soccer games because people are falling all over themselves in the mud. That's not what you're looking for, though.
Entertaining.
In terms of high-end play. That was gross. So, yeah, Texans over Steelers.
Okay, I'm going Niners over Eagles because Jalen Hurts, he might not even be among the 25 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Boy, that's so strong. He has it in him somewhere. I've seen this guy play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you've watched
and
him
make
all season
every
long.
throw on the field.
But they're there all the time, Phil. Our schedules happen to match up on Sundays. We're not watching the Patriots, and the Eagles are available, and we're watching it, and it looks like a kid skipping rocks all over the place. Florio had a stat last week. The first time since the 1987 Patriots that a team has twice failed to complete a pass in the second half of a game. Hasn't happened in almost 40 years, and Jalen Hurts is running that thing. I got Texans over Steelers as my third most likely. That'll give me 3 points if the Texans move on.
Okay, so my third most likely is actually Bills over Jaguars.
Oh, we got one.
Bills over Jags. Quarterback's still too good. He might be hurt. I don't really care. And I'm not going to buy in on Trevor Lawrence just yet. He's had a very good last month and a half. If you want to say 2 months, I'll give you 2 months. I'm still not a buyer. I'm more of a buyer on Liam Cohen than I am on Trevor Lawrence. And I look at the Bills as a team that's been there. They are moving on to the second round.
Good deal. We have conflict. I have Jags over Bills as my fourth most likely outcome. So that'll get me 4 points, and Phil will get 0. Meanwhile, Patriots over Chargers is my fifth most likely win.
You're going too fast. I've only given you 3 so far. Yeah, I've given you 3. I got to give you my fourth. My fourth is Patriots over Chargers.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That's your fifth.
Oh, you didn't do Niners-Eagles yet.
I haven't done Niners-Eagles. I'm not confident in that one. Not nearly as confident as you. You're crazy. Just saying the Eagles are out like that.
All right, you better catch up then.
I'm caught up now. I'm caught up.
You did Patriots over Chargers for 4.
Yeah.
I do Patriots over Chargers for 5. Who do you got for 5?
Got it.
5.
I have Packers over Bears for 5.
I have Bears over Packers.
Okay. So a little
and that's my last one. So
disagreement there. So my last one is going to be Eagles over Niners.
Wow, John, mark this down because I think there's a way to figure out points-wise. This is going to be really good. I'm not good at putting contests together nor keeping score, but I like the way this is shaping up. And, folks, you're going to like the way the rest of the week shapes up. You know why? The next Pats podcast, Phil Perry will bring that to you later in the week. I'll be bringing you quick slants, and you're going to have coverage all week long on NBC Sports Boston.